welcome back to FKVlogs, and today I have a new little series thing starting that I am super excited about. It's something that I've wanted to start because I tried to look it up a bit more in depth and I didn't really see too many people talking about it, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and start this series. Now, it is a bit reminiscent of something else I've already done on this channel and do hope to continue. I did a series of videos called Special Feature Spotlight, and then the name of the special features I was watching, and usually it was, well, I think all of the time it was a Disney film, one of the Disney classics, and I do want to continue that with the Disney classics. I think that'll be kind of what that is for. But here on Special Features Sundays, I want to just talk about a selection of films and the special features on them, and whether I would recommend that you check them out, or my thoughts on them, and some in-depth, like, breaking them down and telling you what the special features are, how long they run for, and kind of what they're about. Because sometimes you can pick up a Blu-ray or a DVD and there'll be a bunch of special features and they'll all be a couple of minutes long and they're not necessarily worth your time, but then sometimes you'll get a Blu-ray or a DVD, the special feature will be, quite an in-depth, lengthy special feature that might be fantastic. So I definitely want to talk about them here and just kind of get into that side of things more, because I've tried to look at things up on the internet. It's really hard actually to find quite a lot of detail about the special features, so I just wanted to bring light to some things here. I won't be doing the videos every Sunday, but when I do them, they will be on a Sunday. And hopefully, for example, on a Monday when I pick up Monday movie hunting, I will try and watch the special features for those films if I've watched the movie in that week, and then talk about them the following Sunday. So I'll try and incorporate those in. But this time I have 3 here for you. So let's just get started. The first one I have is Paranorman. You guys know I recently watched this movie and I really enjoyed it. And I actually watched a video by Hardback Books Please, who is a great YouTuber here on YouTube. I'll link her channel down below. She did a video review of Coraline and talked about, if you own the DVDs and Blu-rays, definitely check out the special features because they're brilliant. And I was like, oh yeah, I need to check out the special features for Paranorman. I haven't checked out the ones for Coraline yet, and I really do want to, so that might be in a future Special Feature Sundays. But these special features were fantastic, some of the best special features I've ever watched. So as you can see, the first one we have is Peering Through the Veil, behind the scenes of Paranorman. This was incredible. This is just over 40 minutes in length, and it's all about, if you don't know, Paranorman is a stop motion animation movie by Laika, so however you'd like to pronounce that, but and they make all these little figures and all the sets, and it was amazing to see behind the scenes and what really goes into these movies, because it just blew me away. It's definitely one of the best things I've seen. It made me appreciate the movie so much more and want to watch it so many more times. I couldn't believe it. Obviously, if you haven't seen this special feature on this, the 40-minute talk about how they've done this movie, I highly recommend you watch it. It really is fantastic. When I was in college, I actually studied media, and at one point, we looked into stop motion animation and things, and I really wish that we would have watched this, because it really opened my eyes to how much work they really put into it. You always know, it takes a long time, they put a lot of work into it, but I don't know, I guess I did know that, but then to actually see it and hear them talk about it, it's fantastic. And also they talk about how, with technology and the progression of it, they've been able to, try new things. Like, for example, for the faces, they actually print them on a 3D printer. Now for Coraline, there wasn't a colour 3D printer, so it was really hard to add a lot of colour to her face, whereas now there are colour 3D printers, so you can add, colour to the faces, which I thought was fantastic. It was so interesting, seriously. This, the main feature on this was so interesting, and just, I don't know, I just loved it. I just enjoyed watching it so much. I felt like I learned so much, and it was definitely worth watching. So please, if you have this, I don't know about the DVD. I've tried to look it up. I'm really sorry. I've tried to look up the best that I could. And to see what the special features are on the DVD, and I really don't know. So, like I say, it's called Peering Through the Veil, behind the scenes on the DVD, but on the back here it's actually called Behind the Scenes of Paranorman, exclusive 40-minute feature. So, yeah, hopefully, I don't know. Next on here we have the featurettes, which is split up into different kind of sections, but altogether the 4 or 5 featurettes are 14 minutes, and they're really interesting as well. I really liked these. It's really quirky, really different. and it talks about kind of where the cast and crew, how they grew up and how they related to Paranorman in the film, and it was just really quirky, and about how like being weird, it's like there was this hashtag at the end of each one, like the weird way, I'm not quite sure what it said, but I really enjoyed these. They really made me smile. I thought they were really inspirational, kind of telling the stories of the creators behind this movie, and I really enjoyed them too. Sometimes featurettes I think a bit hit and miss, just like little short snippets of things, but the way it was separated up, I loved. It was brilliant. I really found myself enjoying these featurettes as well, and I kind of just thought, oh, okay, now these would be some little bits, but no, it was kind of like the connection that the people who created this movie have with the movie was so amazing to see. I just loved it. So all the special features on this one, I would recommend all of them. It also has a commentary which I have not listened to, but I think after watching the special features, those two, I will want to listen to that. I haven't listened to any of the commentaries on these, but it's just the other features I'll be talking about mostly. But yes, please check out the features on this if you haven't already, because I just loved them. Okay, and now the next one that I will be discussing is The Fault in Our Stars Blu-ray and the special features on this one. I was really excited to watch the special features on this Blu-ray because I've read the book, I've watched the movie, and I love it. And it has quite a few features, as you can see on the back here. But I kind of found myself a little bit disappointed. I'm glad I actually watched these features before I watched the Paranorman ones, and I'm kind of glad about that, otherwise I would have been really disappointed. They're interesting and okay, it's just they're very short and don't go into much depth, but I guess, you know, they're kind of just like little snippets of behind the scenes. But the first one we have is The Stars Align. Now this feature is 8 minutes long, and it kind of has John Green talking about, you know, how he came to decide to have the book be made into a movie, how he came to choose who was going to do it. It talks about, you know, his inspirations for the book and just kind of things like that, you know, him discussing that. You know, you have some of the cast and crew talk about their connections with the book, and, you know, how it just basically how it all came together. And I did find it interesting. It's just, I don't know, I felt like, because me personally, I actually did know quite a lot of these things, just from being a fan of John Green and things, so maybe that was why I didn't find out as much as I wanted to, because I kind of already knew some of the things they were talking about, so maybe that was why. The next feature on here is Our Little Infinity, which is only 1 minute long, and it has Augustus and Hazel, the actors for these two, just discussing how it was working together, and, you know, them being Gus and Hazel. And, you know, it's just a little snippet. It was kind of cute, it was kind of fun, but it wasn't anything amazing. The next one we have is The Scribe on Set, which is 4 minutes long, and again, it was just kind of some behind the scenes, some little vlog bits. But something I did find really interesting on this one is it actually showed Shailene Woodley, who plays Hazel, cutting her hair. I mean, that sounds so silly, but she has really long hair, and obviously she cut her hair for this role, and it kind of also talks about how, like, she just really wanted this role and the way that she went about hoping to get it. But that was an interesting story. I did know a little bit about it before, but I did find it really interesting hearing her talk about that and hearing John talk about it, and then obviously, you know, seeing her cut off her hair and things like that. I don't know, it sounds a little bit weird, but that I did find quite interesting. I did enjoy that bit. And my favourite special feature on this one was the music behind Our Stars. This is about 3 minutes long, and I really enjoyed it. I think that my favourite bit actually was hearing Birdie, the musician, talk about the way that she felt after she watched the film and how she wrote the song, her song that was in the Not About Angels, that was in the film. Hearing her talk about that, I just really found that really interesting, because I'd never really thought about it. You know, sometimes songs are put into films that are already existing songs, and sometimes artists write songs for films, and sometimes people write songs for films, but it's not something that I've looked into too much. So hearing, I mean, there was quite a few different artists who talked about their connection with the song and the film, but Birdie in particular really intrigued me. I really liked the way that she talked about it. I really enjoyed that. So that was really interesting. I did really like that one. That was probably my favourite special feature on the movie. And finally, the special features that I watched for this week were Hugo special features. Now, I can tell you with this one that both the DVD and the Blu-ray have the same features. So whether you have the DVD or the Blu-ray, you can go ahead and watch these features. The reason I have both is because I actually bought the DVD on its release day, because I was really excited for this one. And then I came across the 3D one and decided I definitely wanted to see it in 3D. And I was really glad that I did. So yes, so we're talking about the special features on Hugo, which one to hold. But yeah, so if you have the DVD or the Blu-ray, you can watch all these features, which I think is fantastic for people who don't have a Blu-ray player or buy DVDs, and the features, because oftentimes, you know, the features kind of favour the Blu-ray, but in this case, they're on both, so that's great news. So on this one, the first feature is, what is it called? Shoot to the Moon, the Making of Hugo. And this was so interesting. Basically, you know, if you don't know, this is a Martin Scorsese movie, and it really is fantastic. It's kind of one of his first children's movie, and I found it really interesting him discussing this because he talks about his daughter Francesca. We have the same name. I was like, ah, yay! That was exciting. His youngest daughter Francesca, and the fact that, you know, he'd wanted to do a children's movie so she could kind of see his film, and, you know, he wasn't sure how he was going to do it, but how when he discovered the book, The Invention of Hugo Cabret, that he thought, oh yes, this is the movie that I want to make. What a fantastic thing. And I kind of feel like I understand why. There's so much in this movie that is fantastic. If you've not seen it, definitely check out the movie. It is a brilliant, it's very much about, you've got kind of a mechanical thing about it. It's about a little boy named Hugo who lives in a clock, and it's all about these mechanics that are kind of have a bit of a mystery behind them. And then it's also about Georges Méliès, who is a filmmaker, one of the very early filmmakers, and it's kind of has his story in there. So it was really, really a unique film, and it kind of, so basically, you know, he's talking about that and why he wanted to make this film and how it came from the book to the film. And then we also have the cast and the crew talking about what it was like working with Martin, and it was really, really interesting. I really, really enjoyed them kind of just discussing it. It felt kind of natural, and it was really, I felt like I really got an inside peek into this, which is great. Sometimes behind the scenes you see some little random clips and you don't really get much, but this I really felt like I kind of learned something more and got a little sneak peek behind the scenes. Also on this feature they discussed how it was working with 3D. Now Martin Scorsese, this is his first 3D movie, but he talked about how he has an old collection of older 3D movies, and it was so interesting to hear him talk about that actually, like the history of 3D, they spoke about that, and how he wanted to create this movie in 3D and how they went about it and how they had to think about more different things, and it was so cool. And they also talked about the sets and stuff. Yeah, it was really, really interesting. Definitely check out that special feature. I really, really found myself really enjoying it. And there was a lot to know in it as well. It crammed a lot in. I think it was about 12 or 15 minutes long. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. The next feature we have on here is The Mechanical Man, Heart of Hugo, and this was so fantastic. It was so interesting and had so much into it. It was all about, basically, there's an automaton in this film, and it was all about the history of automatons, which I didn't know much about, and it was so cool to find out all these behind. It goes way, way, way back. I don't know if you know the history of automatons, but I feel like it's not something many people would know about. I don't know, but I found all about it, and it goes way back into history and talks about the different ones throughout time, and the way they were used, and the way they were shown, and where they are now, and what they had the ability to do, and kind of, you know, look into how they were created. It was really, really cool. I definitely recommend checking that out. It was definitely probably, I think it was my favourite feature actually on the special features. It ran for about 12 minutes, but I think in 12 minutes I learned kind of so much. There was so much information, and like I say, really historical information about these little mechanical machines that people were making for, you know, magic tricks. And there was one that was really interesting called the Chess Player. I just loved that story. It was so interesting. It made me want to go and look up, you know, more into automatons actually. I didn't know too much about them, and I watched this feature and I thought that is so cool. So yeah, definitely check out that one. If I was to recommend one feature, I definitely recommend watching the Mechanical Man feature. It was great. Definitely a well worth spent 12 minutes of time. Highly recommend that one. The next one on here is the Cinemagician Georges Méliès, and of course this is 15 minutes long. It talks about the history of Georges Méliès and, you know, his filmmaking in his time, and, you know, I mean, a lot of his history is covered in the film, and they kind of talked about how a lot of the things are very true to what happened in real life, and also some of them very, very interesting. They actually talk to, you know, passed down family members of him in the special feature. It was his great granddaughter. I'm sure it was great daughter. I don't know, great. It was his great something. And, you know, she was there, she was speaking about it, and about him, and about the family members that are still left of his, and about the connection between the ones, you know, in the movie, and who was who, kind of. Chloe Grace Moretz's character kind of has an important part in Georges Méliès' life, and she, the girl who was talking on the special feature, was talking about how it's Georges Méliès' granddaughter who kind of has that, who's got a connection, who lived with them, and how she is now still alive. Well, at the time they filmed this, I don't know how old she would have been, but anyway, you know, she was saying she was still alive, and it was so interesting. But also, of course, you got to find out all about his history in filmmaking, and you know, if you're interested in filmmaking, it's really interesting because it talks about really early filmmaking, the way that he used the camera and different things, and him seeing the first film, you know, I can't even remember the exact title of it, but you know the one where the train just comes into the station. That he, you know, talks about him seeing that and then wanting to make film from there on, and it was really, really interesting. I definitely recommend checking this one out if you're kind of interested in that. I really, really enjoyed it. Next we have special features Sacha Baron Cohen of The Role of a Lifetime. It's only 3 minutes long and it was kind of funny. It wasn't, I don't know, it was kind of funny. It wasn't really anything special compared to the other ones. It depends whether you find his humour funny or not. He plays the station guard in the movie, and yeah, it was kind of funny. It was kind of interesting. I quite enjoyed it, but it wasn't anything too great. And finally on here we have Big Effect Small Scale, which is 5 minutes long. This was really, really interesting. It talks about, the whole thing is about how the train crash scene was created, and you know, the behind the scenes of that, and how it was actually based on a real train crash in a train station in France. And you know, there's this photo of it, and that's kind of what inspired the scene and inspired the bit in the book and all these things. And it was really, really interesting. I really, really enjoyed that, and how they were trying to get it as close to possible as they could. And yeah, it was really, really cool. I really enjoyed seeing that as well. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking out these special features on Hugo. If you have the DVD or the Blu-ray, just go ahead and watch these. They're really, really interesting, and I think you'll really enjoy them. Even though they're not super long, I feel like they put a lot in, and you kind of learn a lot in such a short space of time. There's so much information compacted into these special features. I just really enjoyed them. So yeah, those are the special features for Hugo. We've talked about the special features for The Fault in Our Stars, and we've talked about the special features for Paranorman. So I definitely recommend Paranorman and Hugo special features for sure. I think if I was to recommend just one, I'd recommend Paranorman's, because I just thought that was fantastic and I really want to watch them again. The special features as well as the film. So yeah, definitely check out the special features of these if you're interested in them. Thumbs up if you enjoy this kind of new little series I've got going. I cannot wait to talk about more, because I think it just needs to be more talked about. I enjoyed them special features so much, and I think sometimes people just kind of overlook the features, and I think, you know, we need to bring looking at the features back. I don't know. Comment down below if you've seen any of these special features or you've seen any of the movies. And thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Keep smiling, peeps. I'll see you then. Goodbye.